Hey there, everyone. That Sexy Nerd is back again, and welcome to the first of a lot of casual Geographic you'll be seeing. I'll probably be releasing them like each day or whenever I can get them up on YouTube. I just I've been out of the game on this guy for a while, and I just came back. I know I said that before, but I really do mean it because I actually have the time now. And I can probably get it all done within a few hours. So I'm gonna start now. Now I have been hearing this little like everybody's like 100 men versus one gorilla, and that the gorilla looks like he could win, and I'm like I don't know, but at the same time you never know. But I've never really gotten into the debate. I always like I just always see it, and I'm like, well, what's going on? But I don't know. I don't. I guess I need to pay attention more. But it didn't seem like it interests me because like at the end of the day, it's like it could be any extenuating circumstances and everything. But I'm sure I'm gonna get very interested after I see this video. But yeah, I'm very interested to see what he says about this, and he's probably going to come up with just some more stuff. It's probably not just going to be like 100 men versus gorilla because I don't know how you can make a 15-minute video out of that. But well, let's just get into it. And remember, I will be releasing all the episodes I've missed on here, so get ready for that because there's going to be a lot of them. So please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And remember, sign up for my Patreon for all my latest reactions to all my latest videos. And let's take this thing out.
100 men versus one gorilla is just the newest online debate brought to you by people that have way too much time on their hands.
Seriously.
And I'm no better, because here I am making a video about it. Because it's quickly gone from silly Twitter talk to what has to be a massive joke that I'm not in on. What's clear is one side is getting drastically overrated, while people obviously aren't taking the other side seriously. Plus, I love animals and arguments, so if you're looking for a video to eat your lunch with, or to be the soundtrack of your commute home, I'm going to break down the question you probably didn't care about in the first place, and by the end, you'll wonder how this was ever even a question. So here's the full truth of whether 100 unarmed men could beat one prime silverback gorilla. But first, we gotta understand what force of nature we're up against.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a couple recent videos on gorillas, so to not repeat myself too much, I do advise that you check those out for further context. But basically, everything we thought about gorillas back in the day was wrong. They're giant, non-violent, fart-happy pacifists, and the most dangerous thing about them is they can misunderstand regular human actions as an act of war. So while yeah, if you smile at a silverback enough times, he eventually will put beats on you like a Cherokee drum, most times a gorilla is just worried about the 6,000 calories he eats a day. And thank the stars for that. Gorillas are built like the developer had something to prove. They took the human model and said, drag the resize. The result is an alpha ape with a stronger bite force to prove. They took the human model and said, drag to resize. The result is an alpha ape with a stronger bite force than a grizzly, allegedly. Hands that can crush a crocodile's skull, allegedly. And just strength that we really have no way to truly comprehend. That man fully didn't plan to get casually ragdolled, but plans are always subject to change when you're around the prime ape. Gorillas might default to peace, but life is multiple choice. The question is, what kind of carnage comes when they choose violence? It's hard to imagine what a fully malice-motivated gorilla can do because it takes a lot for them to get to that point. The first phase of conflict involves using body language and gestures to send a message before hands even have to be thrown. Because for an animal that can spend over 12 hours a day eating, wasting calories on fights is poor resource management. The second phase of escalation usually involves pushing, grappling, and screaming in really short bursts. Gorillas fight the way they fuck. What I mean is, the phase they run are like how they're hung. Not long at all. Because again, most times gorillas don't actually want to fight. But what about when they do? Yeah, that would be phase 3, and that usually happens when two silverbacks throw down for control of a group. Losing such would mean losing the 3 F's: food, family, and the FCC won't let me finish, but stakes can make these fights to the death, and here's where we can see what gorillas are truly capable of. I found a research paper that detailed the injuries sustained in gorilla-on-gorilla fights, and based on that, you see a pattern. Those teeth are for more than just undressing trees, and losers are often found with lacerations and puncture wounds all over the body. And unlike a leopard, which leaves small puncture wounds, the canines of a gorilla cause large gaping tears in victims. Even if the gorilla's bite strength has been exaggerated, which we will get into, even lowballing them puts them at the level of a hyena. One gorilla named Shuti had his foot completely crushed with the tips of his fingers and ear bitten off. Gorillas also use their arms, not really to punch but to use as battering rams, and they've also been known to pull chunks of hair out with their hands. So safe to say, a gorilla's stiff arm to the back would crack your constitution like a glow stick and could dislocate or break human bones by accident.
Look at him.
Also recorded with bite wounds to the face. You'd probably be able to unlock your iPhone from 20 feet away after a gorilla puts jaws on you. So what chance would an army of humans have against a 500-pound berserker? Well, hot take.
100?
Gorillas have been drastically overrated in many ways.
Yeah.
First as fighters. Gorillas
That's
aren't
what I'm
efficient
saying.
fighters. They're more physical brawlers and grapplers. And with everything I've said, most fights last anywhere from a couple seconds to 1 to 2 minutes at the most.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, yeah, one gorilla versus 100 men. 100 men will eventually win. I mean, I don't understand why people think that strength in numbers is not a factor. I know I'm saying I didn't know, but I'm kind of keeping the little thing. I mean, come on. Come on. If it's 100 gorillas against one man, you'll see an entire sludge pile on the floor when they're done with them.
Also, as strong as gorillas are, their strength has been overrated. There are some animals that just get more and more OP the more people talk about them. Chimps have been said to have the strength of 8 men when really it's closer to 1.5.
Yeah,
it's just that they're stronger in all the ways that can kill you. And grizzly bears are already big enough, but then you got people claiming they can decapitate a full-grown moose with one swipe.
Come on.
What idiot would say that? And this debate has people swearing a gorilla would rip a whole man in half like a phone book with nary a sweat. I knew the gorilla propaganda peaked when this was an actual debate.
Yeah.
Dr. Strange could contrast
I remember
15
that.
million realities. You won't find one where a plus-size protein-packing primate can do anything to a
grizzly
grizzly
bear.
bear taking him seriously.
No.
Especially since there's a much smaller predator known to give gorillas problems. Gorillas have been documented getting
leopards.
preyed on by African leopards. Even with jungle leopards being bulkier due to less competition, that's still an at most 180-pound cat past tensing Optimus Prime.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, ever seen the movie Tarzan? Remember Kerchak went up against Sabor and lost? Like, he was literally about to die. And that's a silverback gorilla. So, yeah. And African leopards are nothing to scoff at. But they also don't usually sit down and fight like Sabor would. But at the same time, yeah, it has happened. Why do you think they've actually included that? It didn't happen just by happenstance. It's actually happened in the wild.
Now let me be fair, these are rare and leopards usually go for hoofed animals, wild pigs, and monkeys. Gorillas are actually too big and too social to be a regular on the grocery list, so it sounds like my whole point is trash. But that same paper listing gorilla on gorilla violence also showed the aftermath of leopard attacks. In those reports, all leopard victims took bite wounds to the head and most of the arms, with lacerations localized about the neck and claw marks on the trunk. So even though it is rare and a one-on-one between a silverback and a leopard might murk both, if a gorilla can struggle with less than 200 pounds of predator, a 900-pound Duratio would give Harambe a bunkmate.
Yeah.
Also, against 100 men, there are some very real issues that could be game over for the gorilla. The big one is endurance. Gorillas are dangerously close to being hot girl fit. They're best using explosive bursts of energy, not sustained strain over a long period of time, and a fight against 100 humans would likely last hours. Which is really bad considering compared to us, gorillas have poor temperature control. Gorillas don't have as many sweat glands as humans, and if we're talking about mountain gorillas, the thick fur would make it a 101 versus 1. The men, and the risk of heat stroke. That is if the ape doesn't just have a heart attack. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in gorillas in zoos, and 70% of male gorillas in zoos suffer from heart disease that'll past tense them prematurely. Now that might just apply to zoo gorillas, but it's still a factor. Another is the very temperament of the gorilla is highly non-confrontational.
Look at the
More
goose.
likely to run away than to fade. But most importantly, the brawling, grappling build is not a good combat style against multiple enemies. We know that cause there's another African predator that's been giving gorillas
Chimps,
hell,
I
and you may
forgot.
not have even realized it.
I nearly forgot about that. I was thinking about that at the beginning, but yes, chimps actually do fight with the gorillas. They try to steal. There was like a problem. There was like stealing their babies or something. It was crazy.
And it's weird because for a while, gorillas and chimpanzees seem like they were on good terms. They've been recorded foraging together, and they'll even have their version of primate playdates. That all changed when the chimps started chimping. A couple years ago in Luongo National Park, scientists witnessed a gang of 18 chimps jump a gorilla family of 5. That's 3 females, 1 baby, and a silverback. The turf war lasted an hour, and even with the silverback apparently testing ragdoll physics, throwing chimps in the air, and even managing to injure 3, eventually he was surrounded and chased off by 9 chimps. The adults got away, but the chimps managed to snatch the baby gorilla of the group. which was promptly eaten. The second attack involved 27 chimpanzees and 7 gorillas, and this time, the silverback made a business decision and immediately climbed out of the trees and fled the scene. Yes, comparing chimps to humans is comparing durians to jackfruit. The moral here is the one gorilla can not only be overwhelmed, but neutralized by numbers. Because if there's one thing that's being dangerously underrated, it's the power of friendship. Don't laugh, I'm serious. If you remember this picture, then you know this was the 100 Men, 1 Gorilla of 2018. It's pretty self-explanatory. Everything here is coming for your life except the 2 you picked to run defense for you. And I'm just gonna kill the suspense. If one of those picks isn't the 10,000 rats, you have no idea how big 10,000 is.
Yeah,
Add eagles for
seriously.
aerial support, and the rest of the field would have over 200 rats to deal with each. And it's cause the power of plurality is one of the most broken strategies in nature. Mobbing refers to an anti-predator behavior where prey animals approach, harass, and sometimes attack their own predator. It's how one animal can shift an almost impossible matchup in their favor. One hyena to a lion is a chew toy. Add 20 and it's a life lesson.
Yes.
Pilot whales have been on record chasing orcas out of high competition
Yeah, I've
areas,
seen that.
and even actively following the sounds of orca
And they're
hunts.
small.
There's plenty of examples of weaponized unity in nature, but probably my favorite case of what's akin to a mob happens off the coast of South Africa, where fur seals have to risk their spot on the census every time they check the fridge. Cause the seals can't go out for groceries without the chance of running into the biggest predatory fish on earth. Every year, great white sharks will gather around fur seal nurseries and snatch any inexperienced pups. The problem is so many sharks show up that a seal can dodge one great white right into the jaws of another. You've seen this movie before, but there's an alternate ending. Scientists have recorded fur seals squatting up into one giant group and using their numbers to turn on the sharks closing in. And as the mob gets bigger, the seal force gets more confident, leading to them escorting the 20-foot assault submarines back out to sea. So with all this, now it doesn't seem like a stretch to favor 100 men over just one gorilla. You could argue that the seals and the other mob merchants aren't actually getting physical with their final boss. That's true. Everyone's asking if 100 men could off a gorilla. No one's asking how. Well, that's why I'm here. But first, obligatory, don't try this on a gorilla, or at least don't blame me for the consequences if you do. In a fight against a simian weighing a shack and a half, it's all about attacking the weak points, and a gorilla's weak points are the same as ours. Eyes, throat, mouth, and for measure, the jewels of the South. It's all about delivering damage that actually matters, and to do that, someone would have to perform the Draymond Green special and go for the eyes and blind him. Someone else would have to suffocate the supersized simian, either by bear hugging his windpipe, which only Tarzan backpacking plot armor can do, or by shoving the entire arm down his throat. And since you're already negotiating your arm elbow deep in esophagus, you'd also have to pull the gorilla's tongue out. I call that the leopard method, because a 73-year-old once soloed an attacking leopard by reaching into its mouth and ripping out the leopard's liquor. And speaking of grab and pull, someone would have to be elected to perform Draymond's final smash and go for the gorilla's unmentionables. Hey, don't judge. This is war. The rest would have to use their combined strength to pin the primate down, with the remainder delivering kicks to the gorilla's flank, the most powerful natural attack to the gorilla's most vulnerable area. That would probably be the best way to chip away at a gorilla. One problem though, this is still a gorilla we're talking about. Even with everything I said about their strength being overrated, a gorilla fighting for its life would show you destruction like you've never seen. It doesn't matter how many men, the method, or the facet, for those first few, their only outcome is a closed casket. Even if numbers eventually win, those first dozen or so men would be horrifically maimed, mutilated, or straight up murked. You can argue that if I can mention that 100 men running over the hill would intimidate even a gorilla, witnessing men getting mauled and disfigured would inflict psychological damage. There's an argument that witnessing the sheer carnage would weaken the resolve of the others, destabilizing the army. And you have to remember, if mobbing is natural, doing so in a way that guarantees a portion of your team sees Tupac live isn't. Even animals like hyenas will fall back if they sense they don't have enough of an advantage in a clan fight. But there's a catch. The tweet that started all this said, "Dedicated to that shit. Surely if men can watch bunkmates get blown to bits in a war, then you can find 100 willing to die by the gorilla. If they can withstand the visceral reaction of seeing jaws getting detached, limbs getting dislocated, and a field of open fractures, 100 men would definitely beat a gorilla." And moral of the story, we have strayed so far from the halo of Harambe. Yeah, this is the part where I do the annoying thing and turn a tweet made by someone who definitely wouldn't pass a P-test into a lecture. But like I said in the other video, gorillas have already been getting the middle finger from humanity, either in the wild or in zoos. Whether it's trophy hunting or bush meat, habitat loss, or an unsupervised minor, humans have the highest KD ratio against our green machine cousins. Because a gorilla has never been on record life depriving a person. even when they may have had a reason. Yet the mountain gorilla is nearly in bed with extinction mostly because of humans. But not all humans. Some dedicate their entire lives to the welfare of this giga ape, which is why I will be donating to Virunga National Park. Not only do they treat and protect the gorillas there as family, they often have to risk their lives regularly going against poachers. That and the fact that I made a video detailing how to murk an endangered species makes my soul itch, so link down below if you'd like to donate as well. I'm not kidding when I say they're family. This man was seen comforting one of his young gorillas after his mother died.
Oh,
and fun fact,
no.
Virunga National is where we got this gem. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Fun little video that nobody should take seriously. Nah, but I think I'm gonna start doing the animal versus animal face-off videos again, so let me know what animal matchup you'd like to see me yell about. There's one I've been wanting to get into for a while. Friendly reminder that I have a book, 100 Animals That'll Bleeping End You. I'd say more, but the name's no marketing. Also, I have a Patreon, but reminder that your money's probably just gonna buy me lunch, so don't spend a check unless you've always wanted to indirectly feed me Wendy's. Or you might just fund my next trip. I mean, all this talk about gorillas, who knows? Maybe I'll go see one. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
what?
But yeah, drink water, hug your mother.
Wait, what?
Go see one.
Randomly natured gorilla. What the hell?
Oh, shit. But yeah, drink water, hug your mother.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't gang up on a gorilla. They've been through enough.
I know.
And I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.
What the hell was that? Yeah. Now, I'm so glad he said that about gorillas. At the end of the day, there's way too many people that abuse these poor things, and they do need our help. And I really hope people actually find compassion. But that's really for these beautiful creatures. But that's in super short supply these days, especially now, and especially with the leaders and the people supposedly in charge of our country. And it's, I don't know, these creatures may be doomed unless we do something about it. And I really hope you take this and you see, you try and help somebody other than yourself, or even a creature other than yourself, because compassion really does go a long way. But anyway, I did love that. I mean, again, I was always saying, I was like, yeah, I mean, come on. At the end of the day, if you outnumber something, and it's 100 men, which is, again, I don't think even the fact that somebody would be injured and horrifically maimed would actually stop the army. I mean, you like, the army of humans, at least. That's as far as animals are concerned. But I feel like humans are a little smarter. They at least try to plan something. So, it all depends on intelligence, I guess, too. And humans are honestly more intelligent. Even the stupid ones are more intelligent than gorillas. So, there's many extenuating factors. I don't know why. But again, these people don't know that much about animals, and but they have popularity, and people are like, yeah, let's take these fucking idiots seriously. But whatever. Anyway, this is the first of many. Hopefully, I'll get this up as soon as I can, and please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And remember, sign up for my Patreon for all my latest reactions to all my latest videos. And I'll see you on the next episode.